Hello there. We are now in the kitchen, in this beautiful, very productive kitchen with Marianne.
Welcome.
And she is going to, what are you going to do?
We're going to frost a cake.
Oh, fantastic.
We're going to frost a big cake.
What kind of cake?
This is what we call chocolate cake to die for. And we're going to frost it with a Tahitian vanilla Swiss meringue buttercream.
Man.
So right there, it's kind of interesting. Can I describe to you what we have on the table so far?
Oh, yes, please. I was going to ask.
So I have a lot of tips here. These aren't all the tips I own.
And tips are what?
Tips are frosting tips. So you put these in a bag like one of these, and then it helps you create different designs. Like this one is grass, so obviously you might put green in it, and then you can make
that on up so
hair for Raggedy Ann, whatever.
Oh, how cute!
Yep. And then this is a weave tip. So if you're going to do basket weaving, like a basket, you would use that one. I do use that one. The point of it is you don't use a lot of these ever, but they're kind of fun to have. Get out of here.
For those moments when you do
For the moments you do need it, you need it, because you don't want to try to make a flower tip. We do lots of different kinds of
flowers. That's my favorite
and
part
stars.
of the cake, actually.
And then these are harder to use than they seem. You can see it on YouTube, different YouTube channels. These are rose tips. They're tough. We might play with it. We might not. So anyhow, you have lots of tips. Don't be tempted to buy too many tips if you're starting, because you really truly only need about 10 tips.
Okay.
That's a tip about tips. We have here bonk. We have here a bench scraper. We will use this when we start to scrape the sides of the cake. This is a coupler. We do. This is a coupler. What happens here, we've got a pastry bag. We put the coupler in the pastry bag. Then we can put a tip on it, and then we can change the tip. So if I don't want to use that number 2 tip when I'm doing the red frosting, I can change it out if it's too big, too small.
So that just makes it easier and less messy?
Yes, because then you don't have to dig through all the frosting.
I see. Okay.
And I have a fairly dull knife here because we're going to use it to go around the. Don't try this at home.
That's my kind of knife.
We're going to use this to go around the cake before we take it out of the pan. These 4 things are spatulas. In fact, these are all offset spatulas of different types, and we will use them all. This is a level for those of you who do lumber work, woodwork, anything. But this will make sure that our cake layers are level. When you're doing a tiered cake, it's really important that you have level.
So your wedding cake doesn't topple over or tilt?
Yes, doesn't tilt.
Mine would tilt.
And I have 3 different kinds of pastry bags here. They're all bound up with rubber bands. You can buy the fancy ones. I just use rubber bands. This is an Atico bag, and it's reusable. It's plastic, and it just has this tip right in there because I know I'm going to use a lot of that frosting. This is a disposable bag, and I have my red frosting in there because we're going to do some writing on this cake. And it's got a good grip to it. It's not really slick. And this is a big pastry bag.
That's a big bag.
And it has a big tip on it. So this tip we use for icing the side of the cake. So we will spin the turntable with one hand and ice with the other.
Okay.
This is the turntable. So this is a really good one.
Vicious. I don't know.
It is vicious. It's my weapon. And people come like, stay away.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay.
Whatever you want. Now open your mouth.
Yeah.
So
I would gladly do. Yes.
So this is a turntable. This one is cast iron, actually. Highly recommend if you can find one in a garage sale or a someplace.
Okay.
This is shelf lining.
This is what you were talking about in the interview.
I was talking about shelf lining.
To keep in your car.
And this also will keep our cake board from slipping around, because our cake board today is considerably larger than our turntable. So I'm making sure. And so this is the size. Now see, that doesn't quite work. So we'll fix it when we have the cake on there.
Okay.
So we're going to go get a cake layer.
She'll be back.
Yeah, so this is a 16-inch round cake, and it is big. I have this oven here, it's pretty big, but this is the largest cake pan that I can fit in that oven.
Really? So 16 inches. And this is going to be 2-layer?
This is going to be 2 layers.
2 16-inch layers?
It's going to feed 50 people very happily. They'll get squares that are about 2 by 2.
That's good size.
But then they're very tall. They're going to be quite tall.
Oh, because of the 2 layers.
Because of the 2 layers, and each layer
Oh my
is
gosh.
pretty. Now here's part of the magic of caking. That wasn't a verb before just now.
I believe it.
Caking. So I'm going to try to center this. Oh, come on, stop it. Center it on here a little bit. I'm going to put my thumb on the side here and see if it's the same.
Oh, you measure it using your thumb?
Kinda, yeah.
Ah.
Just to make sure that, visually too. And I do that while the cake pan is still on it.
I am
Because this is a fresh cake pan. I mean, this is a fresh cake. And
you just baked, right?
that I just baked this morning. So, ta-da!
That looks luscious.
This is a chocolate cake to die for. So I'm getting this little piece of parchment paper on
You put
here.
parchment paper in your pan.
I do. I grease the sides of it with something called pizza grate? I don't remember. But I put a base down, and then I do that.
Oh,
So-
it smells so good too. I wish you could smell this. It is.
We don't have
fantastic.
smell-o-vision?
I know.
What? No smell-o-vision?
That was in the 60s.
Alright. So I have here Swiss meringue buttercream. Now for the buttercream that you see here, we actually used 4 pounds of butter.
That's a lot of
It's a
butter.
lot of butter. But look, it looks almost like whipped cream, doesn't it?
It's really creamy.
Very creamy. The difference between Swiss meringue buttercream and American buttercream is significant when you're working
Okay.
with it.
Okay. And it
So-
looks like it spreads really easily, huh?
Let's just find out how it
With
spreads.
that
I'm using my big offset spatula.
offset. That's what you said. Offset.
Because
spatula.
this is offset, it's not straight across.
Oh, which means you can get it in more.
Which means that you can,
deeper, like.
well, it means that you're not on the same level as the icing.
I need one of those. Don't you?
If I were to use a straight spatula, I don't even have a straight spatula in here. Anyhow, I would
Own
be
one. Yeah. There's not one in my bakery.
not one right there. So I'm just taking the frosting.
That's really, it's like a lazy Susan that you can spin
Yeah,
it too,
yeah.
which makes it,
Well, it makes it really easy much easier
yeah.
to frost your cake. And when we come to doing the sides, holy cow, it makes it a lot easier.
And don't let me distract you here. This is actually a cake that she's making for someone for a birthday party.
It's a big birthday, so it's a big birthday cake. And the client said, she said, what kind of cake? I said, what kind of cake would you like? She said, well, my favorites are chocolate and carrot. But I should get carrot because I can't eat chocolate at night. And she said, it's my birthday. I'm gonna have chocolate cake.
Good girl.
Screw
Good
it.
for her.
I said, great, you'll love the chocolate cake. She would have loved the carrot cake as well.
Right.
So I'm not being terribly precise about going over the edge because we're going to frost the edges of this cake too. If I had a filling that was a different kind, I would pipe the frosting around the edges and so that the filling was just in the middle and didn't escape out the side because the filling likes to escape.
Gotcha. I'm going to remember that too when I make smaller 2-layer cakes.
Smaller. Now,
When
let
I
me,
put the frosting in between the layers, I don't have to worry about, because I do worry about whether or not it bleeds over the side, you know?
well, if it's a different filling. Now, so let me tell you a secret about layer cakes. A proper layer cake has 3 layers. Not 2, 3. Sorry.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I've seen a 3-layer cake. I know I've seen a 3-layer cake,
have.
right? But not.
Now, Betty Crocker thinks that a cake is 2 layers. Duncan Hines thinks a cake is 2. Now, this is the tricky part.
Do you need your knife?
Yeah.
Let me hand you that
That's just-
properly.
thank you.
Like my mother taught me.
Actually, there is no proper way to hand a knife.
Really?
The proper way to transfer a knife was to put it down and have the other person pick it up.
Ah, see, she lied to me again. My mother
Yeah, I
lied to me.
know. Our mother's lied to us famously about lots of stuff. You'll never find another husband. Famous.
Classic.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. Oh, now, because you're here, pull this pan up off. Thank you, up off. So I'm just gonna lay this cake right onto the bottom cake layer.
Wow.
How about that?
I didn't know you were going to put me to work here.
Well, you never know. When you're in a kitchen, quite often it happens that you're
You're recruited.
deputized. I'll take a moment.
That is one giant cake.
One giant.
It kind of looks like an Oreo right now.
It does. And you know, one of the things that we do is we use the same kind of cocoa that is used in Oreos. So, in fact, there's a little piece right there that fell off. Do you want to taste that? Well, that one's a little crunchy from the edges, huh?
It's a crunchy one.
There you go.
Like an Oreo.
So the first thing I'm going to do,
Tastes like an Oreo.
find my bench scraper. Adjust that a little bit. And I'm just going to twirl the cake with a bench scraper. Kind of see if we're even.
So you're spreading at the same time.
Yeah, spreading at the same time. Now see, this is over a little bit, but we will fix that. We'll just add frosting. So I'm doing that. Now I'm going to show you.
Fixes everything.
It does. Now beware, I have a couple of crumbs on here. So we're going to get those off and we're going to put them right on the cake because we do not want crumbs in our icing. That would be bad. So that is that. So some people do what they call a crumb coating on a cake, where they will just put a thin layer of the frosting all along the outside. Now that didn't behave very well. But you know what? We don't freak out. We just say, okay, that didn't behave very well. Because you have another opportunity. So I'm gonna turn my turntable pretty slowly, and I'm gonna apply. If you see this on,
And it's got grooves.
yeah, this
From
one
the
has
tip.
grooves from the tip. The other side has no grooves. So if I do it this way,
Oh.
the grooves on the inside
Presto
and
chango.
might have more adherence power to the cake.
But those grooves aren't going to be part of the finished look.
No, because we have a lot of work to do before we finish this cake.
Okay.
So now that that's done, let's do this again. Oh, look. So we need to apply a little more frosting to the sides, but we probably don't have to use something as Megatron as this one. That's why we have this one. So I see you need some here and you need some here.
It's kind of a
Get some over
touch
here.
up, kind of.
But just a smaller tip.
Uh-huh.
And it touches things up where
I can see where the bigger tip saves you.
tons of time.
Exactly.
And you know, in cake decorating, like a lot of other things, time is money. Because you cannot expect someone to pay you the exorbitant amount of money that it would take if it took you 14 hours to frost this cake and you wanted to make more than $1 an hour. $10. Even if you wanted to make more than minimum wage, which I think you should. I think you should
Right.
make more than minimum
I
wage.
think you should too. Especially because you're a professional.
Well, yeah, and your time is worth something.
Absolutely.
And you are worth something.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a 70s thing. Woman. So, I have patched that up a little bit. I'm going to go back and do this again. And we're just going to take a peek. Oh, look. Well, I'll be if that isn't nearly done. gonna take my little offset, say, okay, you get a little extra help over here. Because the cake layer came out, or I could take my knife and shave it off, but if I create a lot of crumbs.
She's touching up these little places where the cake is showing through.
Yeah.
Little bald spots.
Little bald spots. I'll put more hair on the bald spots. That's bad. Yes, so I'm touching up the little bald spots.
Like, that's new.
That's new.
They didn't teach that.
And then here, it needs to be up towards higher because there's more cake, more cake than frosting up here. And see, I'm starting with the clean knife every time.
Okay.
Now, add some frosting to the top. Just like we did before. You know, before we do that, let's see how level our cake is.
That's just bizarre to me.
Ha! Looky there. And, oh.
That's not good.
Bad cake.
Bad cake.
Bad cake needs to be pressed down.
Can you press them down?
That's what I just did. I'm pressing the cake down to make it more level.
So you squish it.
Yeah.
She's squishing
I'm
cake.
squishing cake. Because we want it level. We don't want somebody coming up and going, wow, that cake didn't look very level.
Is it my eyes or is that cake?
Not level. And it's one reason why we don't really finish the side like with fancy stuff at this point, because we gotta make sure.
Alright.
And our cake is level. Come on, you bean.
Okay, I think what we're gonna do is cut away for a minute and then we will come back and pick up after she has it frosted.
Great, I think that's great. So I've just filled a bag with frosting with a number 2 round tip. I've used a coupler in case it is the wrong size. And I'm gonna show you something called Chantilly lace. Now I was a calligrapher before I was a cake decorator. So this work is pretty easy for me. I'm gonna make a lot of designs here. And I don't really know where it's going. So this one will come up and around here. It's gonna go to the top. And that's gonna need a little squiggle.
So she's making little squigglies.
I am making little squigglies.
On the side of the cake. We'll show you a shot. We'll show you a shot of that in 2 seconds here.
Whoop. Now that didn't behave.
Uh-oh.
I have my eraser.
That's your cake whiteout?
My cake whiteout. So we'll just do that all across the cake. It'll take me about half an hour to do the finished cake. I'll show you that product when it's done.
Okay.
So.
And so for those who are listening, I'm sure you have seen this before. It's very regal looking.
Yeah.
That's my take on it anyway.
Yeah, it looks like lace, or it looks like... We do also have the capacity to make lace. I make lace with a special frosting.
Can we spin it toward the camera for 1 minute and then come back to doing it?
Well, we can work on it over here.
Oh, a little bit more.
Spin it more?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to go with that camera.
Yeah, that camera.
Okay.
Oh, you can just pick up anywhere with this, can't you?
I can, because we're going to go on the whole thing.
Gotcha. Do you ever do that in a different color?
I do. In fact, some of this, I'm going to do just a little bit of it in this color, but I want to do the writing first so that I know where we are. Now, I thought we were done with you. Now, one thing I can do here is I can put this off. Don't spread water on the cake, Marianne.
I was going to say you're brave. I'd be like, okay, cake over here.
So I'm putting some hot water on my offset. Then I'm going to do this. And it's going to help spread it.
Does that make it even flatter when the spatula is warm? Or is there actually...
There is hot water on there, so it's melting the frosting just a little bit to allow me to really make it much smoother up there.
See, I never try to write on cakes because they look like the ocean waves, the tops of my cakes and the sides.
That's the way it was with me for years.
And then you would do the scallops and go, wow, that looks cool.
Well, I would just pull a spoon with a
Oh,
frosting
you did?
and do it like that, and that way I wouldn't have to make the sides of a cake at all even.
All right.
So we're going to say, oh my gosh, celebrating Lee's journey. So we're going to write in red. Anticipation, of course.
I know. I'm not breathing. I realized.
I'll start here. Don't worry.
I'm not breathing.
Don't breathe. Ooh. Because I've got some extra G there, look what we're going to do. Because we've got a little extra G there, we're going to add a little extra
That was intentional.
squiggle here, and squiggle here, squiggle here, squiggle here.
Do we have this on that camera there, the top of it? Sweet.
Sweet. So
That is a long word to have to write on a cake.
it is. Congratulations is also in long.
Oh,
You do a lot of it.
The C words. I have tips from my mother, and they have tubes. So it's very little frosting that you can put in there. Of course, I haven't pulled these out, and I don't know that I've ever used those actually. Because I'm not brave. I'm a cake wimp.
Some bravery. See, one reason why people hire cake decorators to do this kind of stuff
Because
they can't do it.
I can't do it.
You want to try?
Try?
You can't try on this cake, but you
No.
can try if you want.
Oh, no, thank you. I'll just watch and learn.
So I'm going to add some extra squiggles here. There is one there. So
That's beautiful. You want to spin it around to the
do.
camera?
Should I hold it up?
No.
So I'm going to pick up
Celebrating
on
Lee's journey.
So I'm going to pick up on the decorative idea of the
What's that called now?
Chantilly lace
Chantilly lace.
and a pretty
face.
So I'm just going to do a
Everybody sing
little
along.
sing along. So then I'm going to do it a little bit longer because I want to make it kind of look like a journey.
But that's why you were using the frosting that you needed first for the writing.
And I wanted to see the placement before I started to do scroll.
Now what
from the
happens
top.
if you start putting these along the edge there, and then you don't have enough frosting to go all the way around? You just make more?
Make more.
That was easy.
You know, we run out of things all the time, and we make more.
Now that's that's not red, is it?
No, her colors are red and black, so I did a little bit darker red rather than it being, a kind of.
It's pretty. I like that it's different,
Now, we are having a problem, Houston.
Okay. Stand by.
No, we'll show.
We will?
The tip is a little clogged. So we're going to say, oh. All right, you.
Good old toothpick.
Good old toothpick. Do your thing. But then I put it here again before I see there. I made a little.
Oh, there's your glob, huh?
I found the glob.
So frosting will clog.
Sure it will. Yeah. And especially when you're using a fairly narrow tip.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's more forgiving with a bigger tip.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. I'm just like we talked about earlier. I'm just amazed she's actually going to transport this cake.
Yeah. Well, we are going to use a very special. I have a big cardboard box that is going in. That is, so the cardboard box will come up against the edges of this.
All right.
And then it will.
Against the
edge of the cake board.
The cake
board. Which is this called.
Okay.
Cake board.
Right. Okay, so and what else are you going to do as far as decorating goes?
So I'm just going to put, I must have put my elbow in there. So let's fix this. Let's just fix this.
Let me see your elbow. You did! It's a big cake. It's hard to miss.
It's hard to not. So I'm just going to do that same kind of decorating all the way around the edge. And from time to time, I may just add a little bit of spunky red.
Spunky red?
This red.
Oh, spunky red.
Around the outside. I'm not doing flowers because the party isn't actually till tomorrow, and I won't be there, but it's possible that the florist will add some flowers. Often I add some candied rose petals, but I do not have candied rose petals.
Are you okay with them doing that to your cake?
No longer my cake once it leaves my house.
Oh.
Usually on a wedding cake, if there's flowers, I will ask if I can actually be the one to place them.
Gotcha.
Because with the most confessional attitude I have, I am a control freak.
Right.
Why do you agree so quickly with that?
How many years have I known you?
25.
It is something like that.
I know.
It's how many years?
It's got to be 25 because you said you probably came to our open house when we first moved here.
I did when we first moved to this house. Yeah.
We had been there. So we bought this house in 1998. So it would have been 1999. You do the math.
I'm afraid to.
So that's 24 years, 23 to 4. That's fine. So that's, I think, how long I've known you. Yeah. Did you know Dick O'Connor, by the way?
No.
He worked a little bit on the bookend.
Oh, no, did not.
So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll continue this around here. I'll continue this around here. Will I have to make more frosting? Probably not. Probably not. Okay. And then I'll just, probably up here, I'll bring it out a little bit more because it looks like it needs a little more shushing up. So by the time I'm done, depending on what time it is,
right?
It'll either be now or later this afternoon. I will finish it and it'll go off with its companion cake. This cake will happily feed 50 people. And then its companion cake is rectangle and will feed another 50. So, but this is the one that they'll do for their presentation.
That's a big birthday party.
It's a big birthday party. It's a big birthday. So
right.
That is it. And then the last thing I'll do before we clean up, which I can actually do now, back in the frame, take a little water. I make a little point, kind of. And I clean.
Oh, I have a problem with that too.
Well,
on plates. When I put cakes on plates.
cakes on plates. Okay, so you just take a paper towel, make a pointy end.
So I don't run my finger. I shouldn't even say that. I don't run my finger
La
along
la
and
la
then,
la la. You
and then
can.
lick it off. I know, you're not coming to eat at my house. I know.
Any day of the week. So that is how we do it. So
It's
done.
beautiful. It's absolutely
It will be
stunning.
even prettier by the
Yeah.
time we're done.
And I'm so impressed. You've got frosting on your face.
Do I?
Yes.
Always happens. Frosting on my face, frosting on my glasses, frosting on the phone is the most common, quite frankly.
It's on the bottom of the phone.
Is it on the bottom of the phone?
Referring to there, yeah.
Yes, I've got frosting on the bottom.
It's on your chin. and
on
your
the
neck.
chin, neck.
This is all part of the process. It is for me too, especially
Well,
after
and
I
it's,
lick the
you know,
beers.
it's moisturizing. It's got all that butter.
I love
Got all that butter.
it. Yeah, I'm gonna do that at home.
So yes, add some frosting.
Okay, so we will show a picture of the cake
Mhm.
after it's completed, and we will show you what the finished product looks like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to say thank you so much for being a
Thank you
guest
for
on the
coming.
show.
It was so nice to visit you and show you. You know, it's not a perfect business. You know, I'll clean up afterwards. This is why I don't go on real TV, is because I'd be such a mess to watch. It's hysterical. But I am who I am, and it is what it is, and
It's wonderful.
I know it will be delicious and beautiful. That's my my hope.
And your website again is
www.redcarpetcookies. We don't do carpets, we do cookies. And other
Is that your
things.
slogan now?
Well, I kind of my slogan usually is eat the damn cake. So for all you baking rookies, call me for your cookies. There's several things over 10
Oh, that's
years.
cute.
Just
I like
several
it.
things.
I like it.
I bake, you eat. That's the other thing. We take the confusion out of birthdays. Life's too short to get a $10 cake. You know,
That's true. That's true.
it's true.
Yeah.
So there we are. Thanks
you
so
go.
much for
Oh,
coming.
thanks.
We'll send you pictures.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We'll get them in there. And I want to let you know that the Creativity Inside and Out website, I can say that, Creativity Inside and Out website is creativityinsideandout.com. And we will have more information on Marianne and Red Carpet Cookies on our website. So if you ever want to access her information, you can go to the show's website and you can find that as well. And our next guest on our next show is going to be Curtis Fornadley, and he's a guitarist. It's something completely different from this. We're trying to do that with every show. So Curtis will tell us about his career as a guitarist, and he will demonstrate guitars, play some songs, and who knows, we'll see what happens. And you can watch Creativity Inside and Out on YouTube. The channel is Creativity Inside and Out, and also on Spotify. You can catch it there for now. There will be more places later, and we will let you know about those in future shows. And please tell your friends and your family to watch the show.
And subscribe.
Absolutely. Please do. And we appreciate your watching and listening to the show today, and we will see you again. Thank you for watching and or listening to Creativity Inside and Out. I do recommend watching my show if you can, because it's really tailored toward being a visual show. It's available on YouTube. Just search for Creativity Inside and Out and look for the light bulb logo. If you do listen to the show, go to https://creativity-inside-and.captivate.fm/listen. There you will find a variety of places where you can listen, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Enjoy watching and or listening. And please, if you would, follow the show and subscribe. That really means a lot to me. Thank you.